Well, hey there, YouTube. Good morning. It's PD Two Finger. It's 10:15 p.m. my morning. So we worked on something special for Halloween. It's a 3-minute thing. I'm going to make that public on the day before Halloween when it gets to be midnight. I'm going to make that public. So if you're a fan of what we do here, there's a special Halloween video. I know you're going to enjoy that. It was a couple of days of work, and I think it turned out well. So I'm excited about that. Halloween is going to be special this year. Rob Fetters, my favorite guitar player, is doing a free live stream house concert on YouTube on Halloween, 8 p.m. And then, of course, Mr. Bungle doing The Night They Came Home, which is a streaming pay-per-view event. It's going to include a concert. I know it's going to be cool. Everything about this Mr. Bungle reunion, phase 4 of Mr. Bungle, has been great. The artwork, the music, the video, the concerts. So really looking forward to this because I think this is going to be the one. Like, they played those shows, and the shows were kind of broadcast, but I think this is going to be, they're really going to knock it out of the park. They're charging admission for it. So this is going to be something that I'm also going to try to document for myself, meaning dial in my OBS at the highest rate and maybe grab the whole thing, or if my computer can't handle it on that high setting, you get 3 days, so I can edit something together. But yeah, that's going to be Halloween to remember 2020. Turns out to not stink so bad. And then after Halloween, we still have November 27th, the Zappa movies coming out to look forward to. So yeah, Halloween was one of these holidays where, like just how commercialized Christmas has become with the Coca-Cola and the polar bears, and you're hearing Jingle Bell Rock on July 5th. It's just like, come on, man. I kind of feel the same way about Halloween. You drive by these houses where they've got $10,000 worth of plastic skulls and all that crap, fake headstones and all that ridiculous Chinese imported Walmart junk. I don't know. I'm not really a big Halloween guy. When I was a kid, my first Halloween, the one time that I trick-or-treated, my older brother was an Indian, which meant he was naked. I was a cowboy, which meant I had a hat, a vest, a gun, and this little mustache that they put. It had a clip where it was supposed to just affix itself on the piece of skin in between your nostrils. Well, it was sharp. It had like a seam, and he's hitting me. Keaton being a bad boy. So rather than get a emery board and file that seam down, my mom just kept. I was like 3 or 4. I'd take it out. Ow! And then they would put it back in. So I was crying. She's trying to get a picture. It was not good. So that's my Halloween trick-or-treating experience. And later on, I remember the doorbell ringing every once in a while. We lived on a dead-end street. There just wasn't foot traffic through there. So we hardly got any trick-or-treaters at my house. But we had the Christian Chick Tracts. A Chick Tract, that's the company, Chick, and they made these tracts. And you should look them up. They're terrifying. It'll be like, I don't know, some kind of like human sacrifice ceremony going on with these warlocks, and the one warlock's like, I'm just not feeling the sacrifices here. And he's like, why not? You get to kill the virgin. Here's the knife, the dagger, and he's like, well, and then the other warlock will be like, well, something, I know something that's really made my life a lot happier lately, and that's Jesus. And they'll show an image of Christ on the cross. He's all chiseled. And there'll be some Bible verse, and somehow they'll turn it all around at the end. and the warlock is witnessing to the Virgin at the end. And I mean, I'm not making it up. These chick tricks are outrageous. They're just batshit insane. There'll be Jim Morrison, and they're cutting the brake lines on his, taking the masters and doing a pentagram thing with a naked woman on the master recordings to bless demons into the music. Just like, and I'll tell you what, we were putting these in the children's trick or treat bag, and it depended, like it became my responsibility to dispense the treats. My younger brother, this is a whole different, I don't really want to get into my family dynamic, but if there was a garbage boy, it was me. If there was the kid who had to do all of the work, it was me. I was taking out all the garbages every Saturday and doing dishes every day for every meal and doing the weeding. Where my younger brother, and I cleaned the basement and vacuumed and cleaned my room. I don't really remember what my younger brother's job was because he didn't have one. His job was watching TV and playing Nintendo. Anyway, I would run down the stairs and give the treats out. And if you had a spectacularly cool costume, you would get a bunch of chocolate and a no chick track. But if the costumes were kind of not really inspired, you'd be getting the chick track. And there was always, we had like these huge, like giant stainless steel bowls, like what you do popcorn in, full of chocolate. This is back in the 80s, things were different. And I drive by these people's houses where they've got all that stuff, and I just think, what's going on there? Like, is that the guy that's selling the weed? Like, are you in there, like, just blitzed out of your gourd, thinking it's a good idea to spend all this money on all these glowing plastic skulls? And, like, box all that stuff up and then get it out and, like, spend a couple of days hooking it all up and trying to get all the, like, bats that flop when you walk by or whatever. I don't know, it just doesn't, like, I'm down with Christmas. Get the tree out, it's beautiful, it's something, it's a pagan thing, I guess, but doesn't it mean, like, pay respect to the earth and some? I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a fertility. It's some kind of weird Sigmund Freud thing, But don't expect another special video next year on Halloween, is my point. But also that this is shaping up to be a great end of year. We've got the Mr. Bungle album, we got the Frank Zappa movie, so there's that. We had these neighbors upstairs, they were the pot dealers, and they had a little boy. They bought a drum kit. They were constantly breaking stuff, leaving a mess, and selling weed, so there was people parking in our parking spots all the time. And they were hosting parties every weekend. They were so unbelievably loud. They bought some type of a thing for their Xbox where they would jump around. It was a motion tracker, and they would play some virtual tennis. But you live above us. Like, what are you doing? And I'll tell you what, if you're in that situation, you're dealing really potent weed, and you're having your customers park in your downstairs neighbors' parking spots when they come to buy the weed constantly, because people were coming here at 3 o'clock in the morning. It never ended. It was just boom, 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 people running down the stairs, boom, 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 people running up. It never ended. It never ended. They were here for like 5 years, and it was just horrible. But if you're in that position, regardless of the guy downstairs, if he's buying pot off you or not, that's when you give him a bud. You give him a little joint. Whatever little scraps of weed that you have around the house when you're hosting your smoke-offs daily. It never ended. It just reeked of weed in here. And he got me high twice in 5 years. And one time they went on vacation, and he had a pound of it here, and he gave me a little bit to watch the place for him. He gave me a little bit, which that's all it takes is a gesture of solidarity. You gotta, come by my place and sit down and hang out with me for a half hour and make it feel like we're friends. But yeah, they did a lot of damage to the building. They water damaged the whole windowsill, the water from their air. They just jammed towels in it or T-shirts because they had installed their air wrong. Hey dude, I'll install your air conditioner for you. Smoke me up. And the guy came over, put it in, plugged it in, got his free eighth, and left. And it was leaking. It was sitting at an angle, dripping on the inside, and the water. They jammed these T-shirts in it, and the water went through the shirt into the wall and took out all of the grout around like a 4-foot section of the windows, and then it leaked through the whole wall and started dripping on my wife's pillow at 3 a.m. And we just dealt with it. We taped some bucket up there, and then the next day I went up there and dealt with it, and I ended up repairing. I took the air out, opened it up, cleaned it all the schmutz out of there, and then drilled another leak vent hole and reinstalled the air at the proper angle. And his wife came home while I was doing that and went atomic, screaming at me. And I was like, we didn't, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's water pouring in on my wife's pillow, and we didn't bother you. Would you rather that I would have come and banging on your door? And she's like, well, why didn't you just call the landlord? Because if I call the landlord, the rent gets raised, which was...
You had to do something anyway, or they would
Yeah. All the landlord does is have me fix everything anyway, so... Anyway, yeah, those people approached me, and they were like, dude, Sarah and I talked about it, and wouldn't it be cool if everybody in the building all chipped in and we decorated the whole, just went all out Halloween? Just made it this killer haunted house. The whole building. Because their son was 4 and he couldn't get it. And they wanted me, I was just go, sit and spin. I was just not having it. So, yeah, when you drive by those houses that have the way too much Halloween decorations, that's what's going on. Those people they're in there with the good stuff. It's gotta be. I mean, you're 40, 50 years old or whatever, and you're gonna go spend, $5,000 on plastic headstones and skulls and witches and shit? Are you for real? I don't know. Seems like a better way to spend your money and your time than that. But typically those people are really good about setting it up and tearing it down. Not like sometimes when you see the star or the wreath up in May. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have a happy Halloween. Make sure you stop in over here and check out our Halloween surprise. I know you're going to enjoy it. I had a lot of fun making it, and editing it was pain in the neck. But I got a good edit, so I'll talk to you soon. I'm making another video today talking more about Mr. Bungle. Have a safe Halloween. I also need to say that someone I know, a guy that I worked with in the 90s, messaged everyone and said, hey, I was in the hospital. He had a real bad case of COVID, and he went into detail on it, and it's terrifying what happened to him. He was coughing up blood clots, really bad stuff. They did not think he was going to make it. And he's got 10% lung damage. He's having a hard time breathing, seeing specialists a couple times a month, but he's home and he's recovering. So, yeah, it changes your perspective when someone you know almost died. And that guy was built like a pit bull. He was he was a badass little guy. He wasn't real tall, but he was like a pit bull. big fat neck, huge shoulders. You know, he's a big guy. Big guy, like Curly from the Three Stooges, that type of build. Tough. I would not want to mess with this guy. He was a wrestler. Great guy. Great guy. Really, really great guy. So, it kind of puts things in perspective when someone you know almost died from COVID. So, buy your own candy. Don't go trick-or-treating this year. Seriously. Stay home. All right, you guys. Happy Halloween and peace.